There's been a lot of stuff in the news this past week, including the bodies of 800 babies found in a mass grave outside of a church, a Catholic church, by the way, in Ireland. This was kind of tied to the Magdalene homes, the workhouses for unwed mothers, fallen women. A prime example of the Catholic Church imposing a stigma on somebody for violating their moral precepts, and for something that shouldn't necessarily have any stigma associated with it. It should have support associated with it, I would say. Then there was a priest who's on trial for molesting kids, who said that he couldn't recall whether or not he knew it was illegal to rape children. And the Catholic Church has tried to spin that as well as saying that he wasn't necessarily sure that he should report it, which is equally stupid. And then there's, it's either another priest or a lawyer for the same priest, I'm not sure, the stories all meld together nicely right now, who said that priests are either on duty or off duty, and the way you can tell is if they're actually molesting kids, they're part of their duties with the church, and so clearly they're off duty. And I'd like to, now I've talked a lot about how kind of beliefs inform our actions and beliefs inform other beliefs, and I think it's pretty good argument to be made. There's a pretty good argument to be made that training brains, poisoning brains to believe things like crackers turn into actual, transubstantiate into actual flesh of a God-man, and that the Trinity is actually something that makes sense, or that you need to presuppose God in order to make sense of anything, or any of these things, pollutes a mind to the point where you get excuses like this, where you get people thinking like this, that they're on duty or off duty. And I'd like to ask, first of all, the lawyer who's making this argument. I love the legal system, and I think everybody's deserving of a defense. Does the on duty, off duty apply to their vows of celibacy as well? Does that mean the priest can now just go out and marry, and when they're married, they're off duty, and when they're on duty, they're just not married anymore? Does that apply to poverty as well? Can they have just like a big bank account where they store all their money, but they can only access it between the hours of 6 p.m. and 8 a.m.? I mean, we're off duty. When I was actually thinking about going in the ministry, my view of this, and granted I wasn't a Catholic, so you'll have to forgive me, my idea was that you pretty much, this was your full-time, not just job, but life. And that you were always in the ministry. You were always there as a servant. This idea that there could be on duty and off duty is absolutely ridiculous. If somebody from my church or parish or whatever needs help at 2 o'clock in the morning of a nature that is related to my religion, I'm still on duty and I go out and help. I mean, that's my perception of what I think it is that these leeches on society should actually be doing. Going out and helping people whenever they actually need help. And it would seem to me that the one time that somebody would be most in need of help is when they're being raped. And by default, you should definitely be counted as on duty when you're raping somebody. Once upon a time, by the way, for all the Catholics, yes, I know it's not just Catholics, it's everybody, but your organization is a criminal organization. And once upon a time, you could say, oh, well, it's not my church. Oh, well, it's not like this here. Oh, well, I just didn't know. Or I'm supporting the good versions of Catholics. It's too late for any of that. You have no more excuses. You are now complicit in supporting criminal organizations that are covering up the abuses. And now the abuses are starting to come out over and over and over again. Sarah Silverman once said we should bankrupt the Catholic Church and turn it into housing for homeless people. I agree completely. If you're part of the Catholic Church, you can keep your beliefs. Keep your precious little beliefs. Nobody could come and take your beliefs away. Hang on to them. Cling to them till your dying breath if you feel like being stupid. But please stop supporting the church. Leave the church. Sue the church. Bankrupt them in a heartbeat. Destroy and demolish that criminal organization. And keep your beliefs. Reboot your damn church. And if it's worth a damn, it'll be fine. It'll come out the other side smelling like roses, and you can say, oh, that was the old Catholic Church. We're now the new Catholic Church. And we don't support things like rape. It's embarrassing. It is appalling. And everyone who's supporting the Catholic Church is without excuse. It has to stop. And if you care about the things that you believe, you should be the first ones up saying, stop poisoning this, stop making the rest of us look bad. On duty, off duty. I didn't know I shouldn't have sex with children. I didn't know I shouldn't report sex with children. I didn't know the Catholic Church was a criminal organization that was killing women during childbirth, or during miscarriages, by allowing them to get infections because you won't remove a dying fetus until its last heartbeat, even if it costs the mother its life. I don't care that the Catholic Church supports hospitals and does some good things. They are not a force for good. It is a corrupt criminal organization that is poisoning the planet, and it needs to be destroyed. And it's not the only one. It's just the one that pissed me off this week. Anyway, you had something to talk about too.
Yeah. Well, on that same note, did you happen to see the Frontline documentary, Secrets of the Vatican?
No.
You should watch that.
I think it probably just pissed me off even more.
Well, it kind of illustrates how far up the ladder the corruption goes in the Catholic Church.
You know, and it applies to a lot of different religions where people try to take the moral high ground and talk about the good that the church is doing and everything else. It's not the church that's doing good. It's people that are doing good. And stop giving credit to the organizations that are, it's just appalling.
Yeah.